Okay, got a super juicy video today for you guys. And I just saw on the news that Biden has a new mortgage proposal plan. And with that comes some restructuring or adding fees. And I'm not going to go over if I like it or not. I'm going to let you decide if it's good or not. And I'm just going to give you some of my arguments that are pro and against it. So, the bill basically, or what they're trying to do is if you have a credit score of 620, you'll get a 1.75 fee discount. And if you have a 740 credit score, you pay a 1% fee. So other people that can't afford a mortgage can afford one now. So that does two things. It allows people with bad credit or subprime credit to actually buy a house. And I like that people should buy their own house. I think that's a really great idea for building wealth, but doing that. So now let's look at why they're in that predicament in the first place. So when you don't have good credit and your subprime credit, subprime is right here. I blended it in. That's when you have subprime credit. So that can result into a bunch of reasons. You could have had a tragedy happen to you where you got hit by a car and you got laid off and the whole bunch of stuff. We're not talking about you. We're talking about people that overspend, try to keep up with the Joneses, and can't keep their paying their bills. I personally believe that that's the majority of bad credit out there. That people just can't pay their bills. They live above their means, and they buy cars over MSRP. They do crazy stuff, even though they don't really have the money. So when we talk about credit and people overspending, I think it's very important to say that not all people do that, but I see it a lot in Las Vegas where you flex to impress, and that can cause you a lot of harm down the road with how you run your life. And now you're going to be in charge of a mortgage. So when you're going to be in charge of a mortgage, that means you are a homeowner. And now I'm relating to the credit score again. If you couldn't pay your bills before, and you were struggling to pay your bills before, how are you not going to struggle to pay your bills when you have a house? Because in a house, if the air conditioner breaks, you got to pay for it, or you're not going to have air conditioning. And so how are you going to take on huge amount of responsibilities and debt to basically work it out? So what I'm saying is that if you can't handle your money while you're renting, and you're renting a 2-bedroom and you're spending $1,300 a month, and you think that's crazy, with home ownership there's taxes, there's fees, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that goes into it. And if something breaks, you can't just call somebody up and say, hey, listen, you're gonna have to you have to come, but I can't pay you. Or you're gonna have to get another credit inquiry because you gotta finance it, and then you're gonna have even a lower credit because you have high utilization. So it's like a catch-22 regardless of how you look at it, because you can't just say, hey, I want a mortgage, but I don't want to pay the high fees, and I don't have the money to fix it all up, because I'm gonna take you on my walk. And everybody here where I'm at is improving their house. They're putting in new landscaping, they're putting in new palms, they're putting in, they're adding value to their house. Come on. They're adding value to their house, and that costs money too. And so if you just want to maintain a house, that's expensive also, like really expensive. And depending on where you're at with condos, there can be special assessment fees. And now you couldn't handle your finances before, and now you gotta actually come up with a budget and have a budget when something goes wrong in the house that you need to take care for. And I know people are gonna scream at me in the comment section and saying, oh, we can put it on credit cards. Yes, but if you're thinking like that, that's why you're probably still renting and not owning, because you need to put money away for rainy days. So what you got to do is you got to take some money away, put it in your pocket, and put it in a savings account. And with that money, then you have like a rainy day fund, like 6 months for like expenses. So if something does happen to you, you're not going to be broke. But a lot of people still live paycheck to paycheck, and I do get that. It's super frustrating when you can't get out. But that doesn't mean that you can, with bad credit, when you're trying to get out of the rat race with bad credit, you need to start paying those bills and paying back and push up your credit. And there's a bunch of credit repairs bureaus out, and maybe you got to check on that. But I've never used one, so I couldn't tell you. Because when I didn't have money, I didn't buy shit. When I only had $8 for lunch, my lunch money for $4, then when I lived in Orlando, that's what I got. So I couldn't go to sushi. I couldn't go to grab a nice sandwich. I had to go to Publix and grab a prepackaged bag and scrape together a few more cents so I can pay for taxes and everything that was involved with that, or the paper fee, whatever. They have paper bags that cost money now and all that other stuff. So when you have that kind of responsibilities of owning a house, you need to be very, very smart with money. And I feel bad for these people that have bad credit and they want to own a home because it's their dream. Then you should start tackling that part of it and see how you can get ahead and do better next time and do better coming up, because everybody can and is going to should own a house, right? Everywhere you look around here is construction. Everybody's doing something, improving their yard, doing something. And that's also home ownership, just like I said a minute ago. And to sum it all up, I personally believe that when people with good credit are being punished so that people with bad credit can buy a house, I don't think it's going in the right direction where everybody should be able to afford a house if they want to, but you got to do the steps. It's almost like when you want to go to college and you want to get a PhD, you got to finish high school first. You can't just roll into the PhD program and say, I'm a doctor, I'm a neurosurgeon now. There's steps that you got to do. And my personal thing is that I think what you need to do is fix your credit. And when you do fix your credit, you can then move ahead and buy your dream house or just one to start with. And I got to talk that on too, that when me and Allison bought our first house, it wasn't this glorious, glorious house that I'm living in now. Rexy, come here. Come here. It wasn't this glorious house that I'm sitting in now with $1 million. No, we started off in a townhouse condo type deal that was super cheap and that we could afford. And so I feel like nowadays society wants the best. They don't want to buy the Rexy, come here. They don't want to buy the Camry. They want to go straight to the Rolls Royce. They want to go straight to the Lambos. And I think that's a huge problem with society today, that we're just like, we want to own nice things, but then when it's time to do the things to get you there, people are like, I don't want to do it. And I know there's some people that just can't get out of the rat race, that have shitty jobs, that just can't afford it. That's an income problem. So then you got to tackle that income problem and see how you can find how to do better with the income that you got. So you can make 60 grand a year, 50 grand a year, what the average household income is, and still do fine. You can't do fine in San Francisco, but if you find a job like that, it might be time to move and find. Rexy, come here. Come on. Rexter, come here. It might be time for you to move and move to a cheaper area if that's your dream job. Or if you're a cashier, probably not the best place for you to live. Probably not the best place to live as a cashier or a low-paying job when you're in San Francisco, because you can take that low-paying job, move it to Idaho, Boise, or Florida, or Orlando, and make a better living. I'm not beating up on people that are cashiers or anything else. You guys are needed. I see that, and I don't want to beat you up, but in order to get ahead, you got to figure out your next move, your next chess move, and figure out how can I double my income next year, and figure out, is it social media? Do I start a lawn mowing company? Am I gonna do something else? Am I gonna figure out a way how I can become a manager? Am I going to college? And so I feel like when you're in the rat race, you can't really make plans like that. But that's why you need to do a vision board and vision it out and plan it and plot it so you can plan your next move. And you're like a chess player now, so you can just plot your next move, take a year off with hanging out, drinking, and invest in some asset. And then in a year from now, when you put your head down, you grind, you work, and no drinking, no partying, you can drink, but not like going out to bars. And you'll tell me in a year from now that you didn't make it. Follow up with me and say, hey, your idea is shit. I did that and I couldn't make it, and I'm glad to jump on a call and see where you're at and see how what skills you got so you can improve it and be a homeowner. Or if you have bigger dreams, let me know.